Well, hi again, this is Dr. Michael Bogart welcoming you back to our video series Exploring World Religions. In this fourth series of videos, we're looking at the religious development of ancient India. In clip 1, we looked at layers 1 and 2, the Indus Valley Civilization and the Aryan invasion. So let's move right into layer 3, the Upanishads. So what are the Upanishads? Perhaps in reaction to, or maybe as an expansion of the Vedas, came the Upanishads during the period from about 500 to about 1000 BC. Many scholars see the Upanishads as a philosophical expansion of the rituals of the Vedas. Whereas the Vedas were highly cosmic in nature, seeking favor from the supernatural through ritual, the philosophical Upanishads were much more acosmic in focus. They introduced concepts like the oneness of all being and the illusory nature of the world. Now, although the Upanishads did not attack religion, they moved away from ritual, sacrifice, and the worship of deities towards an emphasis on asceticism, that is, religious self-denial. They emphasized familiar Indian themes like Brahman, which is the essence of absolute reality, and Atman, the principle of selfhood within Brahman. They also emphasized the concepts of karma, which is the law of sowing and reaping, and samsara, which is simply reincarnation. So the fourth layer arose within the birth of the Great Indian Heresies. To get the full impact of this event, I need to pause for just a moment and talk about the Axis Age of world history. The Axis Age, or Axial Age, took place over just 2 centuries or so, from about 700 BC to around 500 BC. This period saw the almost simultaneous birth of new religious movements and ideas in many parts of the world all at once, from China and India to Greece and Israel. Those who study these things are still puzzled as to why religion in so many different places changed so radically in similar directions in such a short time frame, moving away from ritual and sacrifice towards philosophy and moral principles like justice and truth. Well, for example, in China, both Confucius and Lao Tzu were living during this period, 500 to 700 BC. Confucian philosophy and Taoism both revolutionized Chinese thinking and culture. And during this time, India produced the Upanishads as well as the Buddha. In Persia, Zarathustra taught that the world is a cosmic battleground between the forces of good and evil, and people ought to be on the side of good. Among the Israelites, the great prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah arose to correct moral degeneration and to point out that the main idea behind the ancient Torah should lead to personal righteousness, and that righteousness comes not so much with just making sacrifice, but with acting in righteousness and goodness and truth as God has commanded. So the Axis Age in Greece marked the rise of philosophers like Socrates and Plato, some of the others, who questioned and critiqued the Greek religion of Zeus and Apollo. It must have been quite a remarkable time to live in terms of change in the religious and philosophical world. So during this axial age on the Indian subcontinent, the religions of Jainism and Buddhism both developed out of the Indian religious environment. They were seen as heresies by the religious establishment that would later become Hinduism because neither acknowledged the Vedas as fundamental to religious truth, and they both rejected the caste system so essential to Indian life. These heretical religious groups had in common the goal of freedom from the world of suffering and illusion. They accepted the Indian idea of karma, but they suggested new ways to break out of reincarnation or samsara. And finally, in the early centuries AD, Hinduism crystallized into the form that we more or less would see today practiced in India. This fifth layer of development was almost certainly a reaction to the Great Heresies. Okay, that's all for clip 2 in this fourth video within the Exploring World Religions series. In clip 3, we'll look at one of the great Indian heresies, Jainism. We'll see you then.